welcome to a dreary, a little bit of snowy Manhattan today. K-State wraps up non-conference play today, looking to build on a 3-game winning streak as they host Louisiana Monroe here at Bramlage Coliseum. Hi again, everybody. Ben Boyle, Clint Stewart, Sophie Smith, our sideline reporter today. Great to have you with us, Clint. K-State, one of the best three-point shooting teams in the nation and led by Abdi Bashir.
Yeah, and Abdi Bashir is one of the best shooters in the nation. He has shot 46, made 46 threes on the season. He shoots it at about 49%. So K-State runs a lot of actions for him to get the ball from the outside and knock it down. But only that 80% of his shots are threes. So he does not shoot a lot of twos. Look for him to be aggressive early and often, getting shots up and knocking them down for Kansas State.
Had a nice all-around game against South Dakota with 15 points, but also 6 rebounds and 5 assists for the Wildcats. For ULM, MJ Russell, a transfer from Mississippi State, their leading scorer.
Yeah, and MJ Russell has been in double figures 12 out of the 13 Warhawks games. He averages 17 points per game and then second in assists at 2.3. So he has to have a good game for them to stay in this early.
Brooks Wells, our lead official today. K-State has won 3 in a row. ULM has lost 3 in a row. This is the final non-conference game of the season for Kansas State. ULM, their last 2 games have been in the Sun Belt. A double overtime heartbreaking loss to South Alabama and then dropped a 76-62 decision on December 20th to Louisiana. So they come in at 3-10.
And they're looking to have a good start here on the road. Hope to knock down some shots early so they feel good about this game.
First one doesn't drop for MJ Russell. K-State in transition, somehow saved by Kamari McGriff. Rapiak in the corner.
And really good drive there by Nate Johnson, finding the open shooter in Rapiak. And he doesn't make a lot of threes, so that's a good start for him.
This is his 5th of the season. Nice backdoor cut, and Bashir got airborne and had nowhere to land.
Looks a little bit out of position there for Bashir, but he tried to go up for the block, and unfortunately it was a really nice pump fake to get the Warhawks to the free throw line here.
Lewis, Christian Lewis, a sophomore out of Monroe, Louisiana. Boy, he's been in the zone 6 straight games in double figures and averaging 20 points a game during that stretch. This Warhawks team, they've got some talent on the perimeter, just not any size to go with it inside.
Yeah, not a lot of size inside, and they are a very young team. And so, talking to Coach Cunningham, they're trying to figure some things out, obviously learning to play with each other. And a lot of these guys, it's their first time like Division I basketball. They have a lot of freshmen and some transfers, some guys from overseas, first time playing in America. So it's a new team, and they're trying to figure some things out.
They lost their starting center to an ACL injury before the year even started, and so they've had to adjust some things on the interior. Good look, but unable to handle it was Bramlage. Loose ball in the backcourt, and this will be a over and back violation as we look at some keys for the game.
Yeah, and so for the Warhawks, the keys for them, they have to control the tempo. They want to make sure that they slow this game down, keep Kansas State in the half court, and they have to contain Haggerty. That's going to be a tough job, but that's something they have to do and keep him in the half court. And for Kansas State, it's all about transition offense. Their defense can create some opportunities. They like to get out in fast break, score the ball early and often, and then more than Haggerty. You want to see multiple guys step up and score. They've been doing a really good job of that here late, and if they can have multiple guys in double figures, that'll be really good for them.
A rare miss on the inside from McGriff, who's better than 70% on the year. And a foul on a 3. This will put Lavelle Brodnex to the free throw line, a senior out of Saginaw, Michigan, who averages better than 13 a game.
Yeah, and Coach Tang doesn't look too happy about this foul, and maybe came down in his landing area there, and unfortunately that's a foul at this level.
Brodnex playing kind of an undersized 4 spot. Coach Cunningham says he is our hardest worker. He's been over 20 points in 3 of the last 5 games for the Warhawks.
And he's actually one of the better rebounders on this team, but also in the country, especially at his size. I think he gets about 3.6 offensive rebounds per game, which is 25th nationally. So he does a lot of work for them not only from the outside shooting the basketball, but also mixing it up and getting some offensive rebounds for them.
It's 2 out of 3, and ULM has the 1-point lead. Rapiak, the mid-range hook, short, and rebounded by ULM. Here comes Lewis, the point guard. Scoring point guard as he averages better than 15 a game. Russell and the Broadnecks. Tough finish for Lavelle Broadnecks.
A really good find there by MJ Russell, finding Broadnecks underneath to go finish. But as you see, the transition here, Kansas State, even off of a made basket, pushing it early and getting an easy layup. And for the Warhawks, that's something you cannot allow them to do.
Rapiak has all 5 for K-State. Did not score in the last one against South Dakota. Good closeout by Bashir. This is Malafeev, freshman from Moscow, Russia. Little floater from the free throw line.
A really good job there, just kind of lulling the defensive sleep. The shot clock was winding down, and he's able to get into the paint and shoot a really nice floater, and really good tempo there that the Warhawks want to see.
Haggerty left it short, rebounded by Raynar Sandors, a sophomore from Latvia. Deep 3 drops for MJ Russell, and ULM leads by 6. 29th triple of the season for MJ Russell. 5th leading scorer in the Sun Belt. Bashir, rainbow jumper drops for 2.
Well, that's only Albie Bashir's 7th 2-point field goal made on the year, so we don't see a lot of those, but really good job creating some separation to get to his shot. And if you're Kansas State here on defense, you got to get some stops here before you get some subs in the 4-minute mark here. So Coach Tang wants to see them pick the defense up, get some stops, and let them still get out in transition so they can try to score it early. And for the Warhawks, really good job just touching the paint inside out. You know, those are the best shots, easiest ones to get when you touch the paint. Everyone, you grow up with your father passing you the basketball from underneath the goal, inside out. And so really easy step-in 3 there for MJ Russell. And you want to see more of that if you're Coach Cunningham.
Jerome Tang with a hockey line substitution here. 5 fresh Wildcats into the lineup at that timeout. Here's C.J. Jones with the basketball. Kostic finds Taj Manning. What a wraparound pass from Kostic.
Really good 45 cut by Taj Manning. Seeing Kostic go baseline, he's able to cut right down the 45 line and able to get the layup.
Dylan Diaz in there now for ULM. Step back 3, Christian Lewis. They'll call it a 2.
Christian Lewis is using the ball screen to get to his spot. I think there might have been this Mass Platoon sub because Coach Tang was not happy with the starting five, so let's see that defense pick it up.
Doreen Buka with a chance for an and 1, and that'll send us to a break. Buka and some of his teammates were in New York City over the holidays. Sophie will share the story when we come back.
Welcome back to Bramlage Coliseum here on ESPN+. Now, before the holiday break, Jerome Tang said that Doreen Buka, Elias Rapiak, and Andrea Kostic, all the European guys, got to go to New York City with the time that they had off for the holidays. They said that they all know what the Little Apple is like, and now they wanted to experience the Big Apple. Coach Tang said that they all either had family or friends up there and would eventually meet back up together. And one of the things Coach Tang tells his players in recruiting is that they're going to be all in during Thanksgiving break, but gives them about 4 to 5 days to spend with their families. And that's what they did before coming back on Christmas night to prepare for Louisiana Monroe, guys.
All right, thank you, Sophie. And on cue, Kostic with a nice wraparound assist, and then Doreen Buka gets a bucket and a chance for an and 1 here as we look back at this bucket just before the timeout.
Yeah, and Buka does a good job just posting up and finishing through a little bit of contact, and I feel like he's just gotten better and better as the season has gone on. We score the ball a little bit down there, and then also just defending the rim on the other side of the floor. So it's good to see him get it going early.
Yeah, his development has got to be a huge key going forward for this team, doesn't it?
It really does, and gives them an inside presence, hopefully on both sides. I mean, we know what Kamari McGriff can do scoring the basketball, but Doreen Buka is so good defensively, and if he can step it up and score it on the offensive side as well, then you will see him get more minutes as Big 12 play goes on.
Had a season-high 8 in the win over South Dakota 8 days ago. Kostic rejected by Bamishila, the transfer from Utah, who just became eligible a few games ago. And that's knocked out of bounds. It'll stay at this end.
Yeah, and Kostic thought he had an open layup, but Bamishila comes up out of nowhere to knock it off the glass there and put the Warhawks in transition.
Lewis, another tough 2, not this time, and rebounded by Kostic. Aggressive defense out here, and Buka draws the foul from Christian Lewis. Well, good start for ULM on the road here. And Phil Cunningham, 3-10 on the season. In his first season, was an assistant coach last year for the Warhawks.
Has been coach at multiple spots, head and assistant, was assistant for a long time in Mississippi State. And he knows he has a young team this year and really just trying to get them to play the way he wants them to play in his first year.
Weak side board for Taj Manning, and he is fouled.
And this is something Taj Manning does on a game in, game out basis. He's one of the hardest working players on this team, and I think he just embodies everything that Coach Tang wants his players to play like. I mean, he's always on the offensive glass, defensive glass. He's going to do everything that he can do possible to help this Kansas State team win, and that's why he's gotten more and more minutes as this season has gone on as well. It's hard to keep him off the floor.
Yeah, really is. His energy, his defense, his rebounding. He had 6 in the win over South Dakota. Extended minutes here for this second 5 off the bench, and Taj Manning has 3 here in the first half. Wildcats to within 1 early on.
And you'd like to see Kansas State have a good defensive possession here, as the Warhawks are obviously using as much shot clock as they can.
Bamishila got the rebound, and a foul as he went back up for the putback.
Well, a really good drive and used the shot clock up, and then Russell's able to get downhill. Didn't get the finish, but they do get the offensive rebound and get fouled. And if you're Coach Cunningham, his team right now is playing exactly the way he wants them to play.
Ayomide Bamishila out of Lagos, Nigeria, gets the first one to go. Again, transfer from Utah, played sparingly there the last couple of years for the Utes. Already 7 trips to the free throw line for ULM. CJ from the corner, too strong. Manning trying to keep it alive, and out of bounds to Kansas State.
And what a heads-up play there by Taj Manning, as he got the offensive rebound, saw he was going out of bounds, so he just threw it off of the defender and defensive players to give K-State the basketball out of bounds under, where they look to run a good play to get a good shot.
Jerome Tang staying with this second 5. Thrown away on the inbounds. Attacking is Lewis. And the foul called on Castillo. And headed back to the free throw line. ULM has been living there here in the first 6 minutes of the ball game.
Yeah, and a little bit of a wild pass here from the out of bounds under, and Lewis just does a good job of stepping in and getting in, and then just attacking the rim in transition, one-on-one, going right at the defender, right at Castillo, get the foul call to get him back to the free throw line.
Lewis played last year at Pearl River Community College. As the starting 5 back in now for Coach Tang.
And one thing about Lewis is he gets to the free throw line quite a bit. He's gotten there 85 attempts on the season coming into this game, which is top 50 in the country. So at his size, he is really aggressive. Kind of reminds you of, how P.J. Haggerty plays for Kansas State. Just really aggressive, getting to the rim, getting fouled to put himself in opportunities to knock down free throws.
Coach Cunningham says he's really a microcosm of our entire roster. Talented, but really young. As ULM flashes his zone at K-State.
And they don't play a lot of zone, so Coach Cunningham must see something that he likes to put them in a zone on this possession.
Offensive board for Rapiak and out to Bashir.
Well, there's a zone and there's zone busters, and Bashir is a zone buster, so you cannot allow him to get open shots. Does a good job just spotting up and knocking it in.
Nice find by Rapiak after the offensive rebound. So K-State back within one. Wide open three. It won't drop for Hartman. Pashimak Hartman, a freshman for Poland. Johnson, deep three. No. Another offensive rebound. Haggerty lines one up. And that's ripped down by ULM's M.J. Russell.
Yeah, two deep threes there by Kansas State. Both were wide open, but might be able to get a little bit easier shot than the deep NBA threes right now in the game. It's 16-15.
Sondors had it stripped from behind, but he fouled. They'll get Bashir with the foul. That's two on Bashir.
Yeah, and Sondors is aggressive here, and Bashir just kind of reached in, probably got a lot of ball, but they also caught him for a little bit of arm there as well.
All the way into the backcourt. Sondors will run that down. 16 on the shot clock as Lewis sets it up. And an offensive foul, the push-off called on Lewis.
Well, Lewis is trying to use his body to get into Haggerty so he can get to his spot. And he kind of did this on Castillo early on and then made the shot. And this one, they call him for the push-off. There's just trying to create some space so he can get to his spot and got his arm extended. And the ref's going to call that every time if the arm really extends out.
Second on Lewis. So both Lewis for ULM and Bashir for K-State with two early fouls. Johnson jumped inside to Rapiak. Back to Johnson. He explodes to the rim and an offensive foul on Nate Johnson.
Yeah, that's M.J. Lewis down there sacrificing for the team, stepping in front of Nate Johnson, and that is a winning play. We talk about winning plays, guys that can sacrifice for the team to make winning plays night in, night out. That's a winning play by M.J. Russell.
ULM going pretty deep into its bench as well here. And we'll head to a timeout. The Warhawks on the road lead it by one over Kansas State, 16-15. Abdi Bashir, two fouls here in the first half, but already a three and a mid-range two for him. So he's got 5 in the first half as we look at the leading three-point shooters in the Big 12. He's second at 49%. And really such a key when he's on and hitting shots, it just feels like this entire offense opens up.
Yeah, well, he really spaces the floor for them, and that allows their players like P.J. Haggerty, Nate Johnson, David Castillo to drive the basketball and get inside. And I'll tell you what, there's not many players where they shoot the ball better from the outside than they do from two, but Abdi Bashir is one of them. As we mentioned, he shoots 49 from 3 and actually only shoots 26% from 2. So most of his shots are threes, and then when he's knocking them in, it makes it easier for the entire K-State offense.
Rapiak with the reach in, forces the turnover, and now stolen back from behind. Diaz strips it away from Haggerty. See Haggerty denied in transition very often, but a nice play there as Bramlage drops in the fadeaway.
Yeah, it's really good defensive transition, and then that got them the easy shot on the other end as Bramlage is able to knock it in. And like I said, the Warhawks right now, they are playing harder than Kansas State. And so for Kansas State, you want to see a little bit more. You got to pick it up, play a little bit harder. You got to get this guy to continue to make shots, get him the ball. He's obviously knocked down 2 now, and Abdi Bashir. And so you can find him, especially when the Warhawks go zone, he will be able to break that zone.
8 already for Abdi Bashir, and we are tied at 18. Bramlage, another tough fadeaway, and he's cooking early. He's got 8 to match Bashir.
Well, he really just took his time there. Kind of a similar shot that he just had a few moments ago, and now he's out in transition as Kansas State does not get done, which leads to the open dunk for Bramlage.
Bramlage with the throwdown, and he's in double figures. He's been over 20 in 3 of the last 5 games and headed there again today. Haggerty. Air ball from Haggerty from the top. Haggerty yet to score here in the first 10 minutes. Diaz. It goes up and over and out to Kansas State.
Well, if you're Kansas State, like I said, you have to find Abdi Bashir, especially when they go zone, as he can knock it down from the outside. And then for the Warhawks, Bramlage here just gets out in transition, so Kansas State has to do a better job of getting back, not allowing them to get easy points. But great job by Bramlage here, just knocking down shots in the middle of the lane and then getting out in transition and finishing at the rim.
Bashir, not this time. Inside, Doreen Buka with the rebound, and he's fouled.
And that's what Doreen Buka can bring to this team on the offensive end, is offensive rebounding, especially against an undersized team like the Warhawks. So he just positions himself right next to the rim, and it's kind of hard when you're that big. I mean, unless you can really get up there, it's hard to keep him away from the basketball, and he's able to get the offensive rebound and get back to the free throw line.
Over the last 4 games, averaging right about 6 points and 6 rebounds a game, along with his rim protection and blocking shots at the other end of the floor. Got the second one, and K-State down 22-19 midway through the first, and some backcourt pressure from the Cats.
Well, Kansas State just trying to mix it up, right? They're trying to get some momentum here and trying to mix it up a little bit. Hopefully that'll kickstart them defensively to get some stops, which will then obviously propel the offense as well.
Wiggy ball guarded by P.J. Haggerty, and a foul called on Haggerty. 1-1 already for the Warhawks.
Yeah, and got a little bit over aggressive there, and you like to see the mindset, right? But you don't want to foul out at half court and put them on the free throw line. And so for Haggerty, it's a really good mindset. Hey, let's guard. Let's try to get some things started, but you just got to be smart in what you're doing.
Wiggy ball is a freshman from Flowood, Mississippi. Now 4 of 5 from the free throw line on the season. Nearly thrown away. K-State wanted to run after the miss. Now they'll have to set it up against this zone. High screen from Manning. Bashir from the wing leaves this one short, and there's Bramlage. Averages about 10 rebounds a game with the weak side board. MJ Russell, baseline drive, stolen away. Haggerty trying to split 2 defenders, and Bramlage comes up with it. Transition, and a foul on Bashir will be his 3rd.
Yeah, and that's big. Kansas State had an opportunity in transition offense where they're really good, scoring about 17 fast break points, but they've turned it over multiple times now in transition, which puts the Warhawks on the other end back on transition, and they're doing a good job of either scoring it at the rim or getting to the free throw line like they do here. And if you're the Warhawks, right now, they're controlling the tempo of the basketball game. Offensively, you're taking your time, getting good shots. defensively, I think the zone has just kind of slowed Kansas State down, has made them pass the ball maybe a little bit more than they maybe wanted to as far as getting up and down and trying to score early. And so right now they have control of this game. If you're Kansas State, you got to create some of that offense from your defense. So you have to get stops to put your offense on transition and take care of the basketball and finish at the rim with good foul.
Oliphant misses them both. Nate Johnson back in there, as Bashir probably done for the half with the 3 fouls. And C.J. Jones comes in for Haggerty. Manning, easy alley-oop to Doreen Buka.
What a nice find by Manning there, right in the middle of the zone. He's able to just lob it up at the rim. And when you have Doreen Buka, who's over 7 foot tall, it just not much he has to do to put it in on the lob.
Rodnex draws a foul on Buka. You got 6'5" on 7'2" there.
Well, it might have been I think Buka might say it's weight room. But here's Buka here just catching the lob from Taj Manning, and really good find in the middle of the zone. And when you catch the ball in the middle of the zone, the little guy has to step up and leave that middle open behind him. And Buka does a good job just sitting at the rim to get the lob.
Rodnex very active on both ends so far, and he's got 11 to lead the way for ULM. Transfer from Cameron University.
Well, and if you ULM, you've already shot 15 free throws in this game, so that tells you how you are controlling the pace. But here's very similar play. Taj Manning does a great job just finding the middle of that zone. And when you have someone down there that's on the block like Buka, you're able to just lob it up there and he can finish. So very similar. I'm sure Coach Cunningham will talk to his team about that the next time out.
Carbon copy. Buka with 2 alley-oops. Diaz tracks that one down. Shot clock at 5. Saunders has to pull the trigger and rebounded by David Castillo. Castillo off the side of the rim. Neither of K-State's 2 leading scorers have scored in this game. Haggerty and Castillo shut out so far, but Buka with a couple of alley-oops, and the Wildcats are back within 1.
My team, yeah, we stay winning cause we making plays. Won't stop until we finish, you know how we play.
And welcome back to Bramlage. Tight one here, ULM on top, 24-23. Let's check in with Sophie Smith.
Hey, Ben. Yeah, Coach Tang is not very happy with his team fouling. He says, play straight up, play with your chest, move your feet, don't reach in. He also says, you guys need to turn it up. You guys have been saying it. Louisiana Monroe has been playing a lot harder than K-State right now.
Yeah, 9 fouls already on K-State. ULM has shot 15 free throws. K-State fortunate to only be down 1 as ULM's gone just 9 of 15 from the free throw line.
Yeah, if you're Kansas State, here you have 8 minutes to the rest of this half, and you have to get stops. I mean, that's where it starts, is on the defensive end of the floor. And I think right now the Warhawks is doing a really good job of being patient offensively, so they're getting good shots. So Kansas State really needs to turn it up on that end to create some of their offense.
Lavelle Brodnex with 11 to lead ULM. He's a perfect 4 of 4 from the floor. Manning will try the 3. It hits! Taj Manning with a couple of nice assists, and now comes down and hits the 3. And K-State has its first lead since about the 19-minute mark.
Well, and Taj is one of the guys that, watching this game, he has matched the energy and the effort that the Warhawks are giving. And so he's right now playing exactly like Coach Tang wants him to play.
And Brodnax answers and quiets the crowd momentarily. Away from the ball, a foul called on ULM.
Yeah, and David Castillo here just finds Taj Manning. It looks like they're kind of letting Taj Manning and even Rapiak, when he's in there, they're leaving them open to shoot it. And so if Taj can make 1 or 2, then that's going to have to adjust the defense to have to come out and guard him. And that should open up some more things for Kansas State. So good job, David Castillo, just taking his time finding Taj for the open shot, and Taj shooting it with confidence.
And let's check in with Sophie with some thoughts on Taj Manning.
That's right, Ben. When asked about just the freedom that Taj Manning has been playing with right now, Jerome Tang said that he told him in practice that he believes in him. Just needs to relax and go be Taj. He continued to say that his teammates trust him and the staff does too, and they all see what he can bring to the floor like he's doing right now.
Yeah, absolutely. Misses the three there, but an offensive rebound. And K-State will head to the free throw line with C.J. Jones.
Yeah, and has missed the shot, but really good tap out by Nate Johnson. Taj kicks it over to C.J. Jones, who drives the ball hard to the glass and gets fouled. And for Kansas State, this is only their 6th and 7th free throw of the game, and so you'd like to see them be more aggressive. Now, it's hard to get to the free throw line when team's in zone, but it doesn't mean you cannot be aggressive. So C.J. Jones in there just being aggressive getting to the free throw line.
Clint, how about C.J. and accepting the role he has this year? It's not as big a role as it was last year, but he's giving good minutes to Jerome Tang.
Yeah, he really is, and we know what he can do defensively. You know, he's really a one-on-one defensive stopper, and so that's what his role is. And so he knows if there's a game where they need some more defense, he's obviously going to get some more minutes. And then offensively, it's just picking his spots.
Yeah.
Right, being smart. When you're open, that's okay to go ahead and shoot it, but if not, drive the basketball, move the basketball. He's doing a really good job of that this year.
There he is, nearly getting the steal, but bounced on the inline. ULM basketball with 7 on the shot clock. Nice play, and Sondor's all alone to tie it up at 28.
Well, a lot of cuts there, and then Kansas State just got lost in trying to switch all of the action. It really wasn't any screens. Guys just kind of cut in X's, and Kansas State did not communicate like they needed to and gave the easy layup.
Luka's going to fight or back his way in. Put it on the floor one too many times, and Diaz comes out of there with the steal. Transition three, no, and Buka quickly down the floor to get the rebound. Castillo, transition three. He's got it.
And that's where Kansas State wants to play, is in transition. And so there you see Nate Johnson just pushing the basketball and finding Castillo on the left side of the floor. Now, if you're the Warhawks, the last shot that MJ Russell talked, yes, your best shooter you want to shoot, but if you slow the game down like you've been and control the tempo, that does not allow Kansas State to get out in transition. So you want to control the tempo to keep this game where you have it at for Kansas State. Stops, lead the transition baskets.
Onishala on the post against Buka, and Buka with an easy rejection there. Johnson gets bumped and fouled. In for Nate Johnson, and he'll head to the free throw line. Before that, three from David Castillo, and either Haggerty, Castillo, or Johnson had scored in the game.
Well, we talked about Kansas State has to be more than Haggerty, and so they need guys like Nate Johnson, David Castillo, Kamari McGriff to step up and score the basketball. And there, Nate Johnson just does a good job of finding the open Castillo. And then here, just driving the basketball and getting fouled in the rim once again in transition. And so if they can play fast before the Warhawks can get their defense set, then the better K-State will be. And so Nate Johnson does a really good job just playing fast and getting fouled.
But Johnson's shooting numbers are just excellent on the season. 51% overall, 43 from three, and 80 from the free throw line.
He does a little bit of it all.
Yeah. And he's third in the Big 12 in steals. Gets both here, his first two, and K-State has its biggest lead at 5. Diaz, their best shooter, front rim on the three. McGriff with the rebound. Haggerty looking to get involved. Didn't have anywhere to go on the drive. Now on the cut, left hand is fouled.
Yeah, and Haggerty just takes his time when he gets into the lane. Didn't have a really good shot, so moves the basketball, and then somehow the Warhawks left him wide open, and he's able to cut right to the rim and get fouled at the line here. But he does just a good job moving without the basketball. And like I said, he's really patient. I mean, and so he takes his time. He's not forcing shots, even though he hasn't scored. Expect him to make one or maybe both of these here. this is the first, but he's a guy that, as we know, can get going really quickly. And so for him, he just needs to see the ball go through, and then you might see him step up his game here.
Yeah, he's for a guy who averages 23 a game, he definitely lets the game come to him, at least at the offensive end. Gets the second free throw, his first point of the day. There's the top 4 scorers in the country. AJ Devansa and BYU will be here on Saturday. And there's the turnover K-State's been looking to force. Timeout on the floor. The Cats regain the lead and head to this timeout break up by 6.
Would you ask for more wild stuff?
An incredible catch.
Ridiculous.
What a showcase event it'll be.
The college football playoff quarterfinals begin New Year's Eve and continue New Year's Day.
Exciting time of year as conference basketball season ready to get underway, and we've got the quarterfinals, or the Elite Eight, if you will. Who you got here, Clint?
Well, I think it'd be a pretty cool story here if Indiana comes out on top, but you know, Big 12 too, right? Well, I love the Big 12, so Texas Tech, I'm watching them, hoping they can make the run as well.
Yeah, Indiana has been so much fun to watch this year. 4 great games coming your way, starting New Year's Eve. Here's Haggerty. Rapiak, who had the 5 early points, bounced inside to McGriff. What a look from Rapiak. K-State's got 12 baskets and 12 assists.
Yeah, they're really sharing the basketball on the offensive end, which has been really nice. You know, Rapiak does a good job just taking his time to find Kamari McGriff underneath. And with their size, they should be able to take advantage of the inside basket. So hopefully we'll see a little bit more of that as the first half goes on and into the second half as well. But Rapiak uses his size to just get to the middle of the floor, and Kamari McGriff circles underneath to finish at the rim. And like I said, they need more of that from Rapiak, from Kamari McGriff, from Nate Johnson, from David Castillo, guys that step up here to put K-State on a run.
Free throw from Lewis stops an 8-0 K-State run. Great interior passes in this first half from K-State, including those 2 alley-oops from Manning to Buka. But ULM hanging around, down 6 as we approach the 3-minute mark, and the Warhawks will stay in the zone.
And Kansas State runs a lob play, which wasn't there, but this is where they've been really effective, is getting the ball in the middle of the zone and then finding Buka underneath or Kamari McGriff underneath or kicking it back out for a 3.
And tipped in by McGriff as he gets to the offensive glass. Back-to-back buckets from Kamari McGriff.
Well, when you get the ball in the middle of the zone, the defense kind of collapses there, and then Kamari McGriff just uses his size to position himself for the offensive rebound. And so every single time down, Kansas State needs to hit the middle of the zone and then make the read out of there.
Rodnex up over the top of McGriff. He just finds a way to score. 15 now for Brodnex. Haggerty with the floater. No, Rapiak fights for the rebound, but ripped away by M.J. Russell.
It was a good look there by Haggerty. Just couldn't get it to go down, but that's a shot that he would love to take every single time down the court.
Diaz following his own miss. Now just threw it up, and then finally into the hands of Haggerty. They'll stop play as Brodnex is down.
And didn't quite see what happened here. Or maybe got hit in his head at some point, or
ULM training staff out to take a look at Brodnex, who has been the player of the game so far with 15 points, 6 of 7 from the floor, and 4 rebounds. Looking at his midsection there.
ribs or
See if we can find a replay. See what happened. He did not have the basketball.
The previous play is under review.
yeah, it looks like maybe Kamari McGriff just kind of stepped in to block him out and maybe got the wind knocked out of him here as he got hit right kind of in the midsection there. And sometimes when you kind of get hit like that, you're a little more scared than what the actual result of it is. But
After review, the player was knocked down, incidental contact. Kansas State ball on the sideline.
Like I said, maybe he's had the wind knocked out of him there for a second, and he's able to catch his breath now, and it looks like he's okay.
Brooks Wells, our lead official, with the review.
Well, and Broadnex has just done a great job for this Warhawks team. He's been really aggressive. He's already has 15 points and 6 of 7, and he's able to get into the middle of the lane, hit a couple of fadeaways, and had a dunk out in transition. But right now, he's, like I said, Coach Cunningham said, the hardest working player on this team, and he is playing as hard as he can to try to keep them in this game here in this first half.
They try the lob again. They get it in the foul. This time it's Rapiak to Kamari McGriff.
And once again, you hit the middle of the zone, and that opens up everything else. So what it does is the defense has to choose. When the ball goes into the middle, are they going to collapse, right, or are they going to fan out to shooters? And if you fan out to shooters, then you have Kamari McGriff, you have Doreen Buka right at the goal, and those guys are bigger than the Warhawks players. So all you got to do is lob it up at the rim. If you collapse, then you have shooters around you now. You can just kick the ball out for an easy shot like they did early on with Bashir knocking down shots. So you really have to pick your poison if you're the Warhawks as when the ball gets in the middle of the zone. So for Kansas State, it has to go there every single time down that they're in the zone.
And Coach Cunningham told us yesterday they don't really have a second defense. They've played almost all man all season long. So this 2-3 zone, this probably isn't anything they've practiced a whole lot. They're just kind of throwing it out there to try and slow K-State down today.
Right, just trying to give them a different look and, like I said, slow down the tempo of the offense and make Kansas State use some of the clock before the shot goes up. And, it's done a little bit of that obviously early on, but Kansas State seems to be finding a rhythm now with the inside out and moving the basketball, knocking shots down from the outside, but then also the lobs at the rim.
Johnson, his first triple of the afternoon, came in shooting 43% from beyond the arc as Hartman misses. Zone slowed K-State down for a little bit, but now you look up on the scoreboard, they still got 44 points in the half as Haggerty lost it going to the rim.
And Haggerty's had a few of those now in transition. I think it's his third that he's kind of lost in transition. So you'd like to see him clean that up so he can go score the basketball or find open guys as they're running the floor.
Haggerty this time on the kick out to Kostic. Offensive board for PJ. Oh, he's had a couple of those go halfway down and pop back out. Tough shooting day for Haggerty, who hit his first 8 shots in the last game against South Dakota. Not here today. He is 0 for 6, has just the 1 free throw.
Sometimes it seems like that's just the way the basketball falls, where you come out and you have a really good game, you can't miss a shot, and then the next game you can't make one, you're trying to figure it out. But here you see Lewis just stepping right there on the line as he tried to make his move around Rapiak to try to get to the lane and score the basketball.
Elias Rapiak has 5 assists in the first half. About a 6-second differential here. K-State will go ahead and run it down a little bit. On the backdoor cut, Castillo with the catch and finish, and another thread-the-needle pass, this one from Andre Kostic.
Well, and Kansas State really was just running some dummy offense to eventually get the ball back to P.J. Haggerty for a ball screen. But, hey, when it's open and you can get to the rim, you have to take the opportunity. So really good job there by Kostic, just finding Castillo, and Castillo does a good job of using his body to shield the defender from blocking it and able to score at the rim.
K-State with 15 assists in the first half on 16 made shots. Overall, the Wildcats at 44%, 6 of 18 from 3, and 8 of 12 from the free throw line. ULM has hung in there by shooting 50% overall and getting to the free throw line 17 times.
Well, what we saw early on was the zone really slowed down Kansas State. They couldn't figure it out, but now they're starting to figure out the zone, and so the Warhawks are going to have to start going man, and that's where I think K-State will be able to exploit some of the matchups in the man and be able to score the basketball as well. So we'll kind of see what the adjustments are made, after halftime. But here Kansas State wants to apply some pressure, try to get a stop, get an easy turnover. So they can
get to the deck, and he gets the ball and calls a timeout. Boy, an aggressive defense there as K-State forces the turnover, and they've got it back with 10.5 to shoot.
Well, and think about this. If you're Coach Cunningham, you're thinking, hey, we're going to get the last shot of this half, have an opportunity to go down 8, maybe 7. But instead, Kansas State comes out into a full court press, traps the basketball, and now they get the turnover, and they will get the last shot of the half. So it was a big possession, and if Kansas State can score here, then, hey, Coach Tank will be really happy going into halftime.
Well, a gamble there by K-State defensively, but it pays off because ULM's in the double bonus. So if you commit a foul in the backcourt, it's basically giving 2 points to the Warhawks. But the gamble pays off, and K-State's got it back here and a chance to build on a 10-point lead. ULM led much of this first half until we got under the 10-minute mark. K-State used an 8-0 run to finally take the lead and see what they do with this last shot here. Looked for the lob, it wasn't there. Castillo with 5 to shoot, puts it on the deck, fade away is short. That will send us to the locker room. Well, it took a while for the Cats to get going, but they finally got on track.
Yeah, and it started with the inside-out play. Like I said, making shots from the inside by getting it into the middle of the zone, got a couple of dunks underneath, and then also got some outside shots from catching the ball at the free throw line and kicking it back out. So for Kansas State, the offense finally picked it up.
All right, let's send it to Sophie.
Coach, great ball movement and sharing the ball by your team in this first half. What did you like most offensively?
I thought we shared the ball well. I thought at one point there we had 11 made buckets on 11 assists, so we're sharing the ball. It's just got to get the rust out of us. We're a little sluggish, so got to pick it up.
Are you going to turn up that defensive intensity?
Yeah, we're just going to crank it up defensively. Whatever we've been off for 7 days, whatever it is that we haven't played a game, so it'll take a little bit, but looking forward to the second half.
Thanks, Coach.
Thanks a lot.
Yeah, it took some bench production from K-State to finally get things rolling. The Wildcats got 20 points off the bench and finally got the lead back. And we are headed to halftime with K-State up by 10. And welcome back to Manhattan. Kansas State trailed for much of the first half, but a big run to close the half. And the Wildcats lead it here at the break 46-36. Ben Boyle, Clint Stewart with you. Boy, it didn't feel like K-State played that well. Kind of sluggish start offensively, but then you look down and they got 46 in the first half.
Yeah, and they picked it up. They figured out the zone, was able to go inside, outside, and that's going to be big for them. Taking care of the basketball. They've shared the basketball really well, and so if they can continue to do that in the second half, make some shots from the outside and then score the ball inside, then they'll be okay.
Yeah, Coach Tang talked about knocking off some of that rust, and they finally did in that last 7-8 minutes. As we take a look at the first half numbers, what jumps out at you here?
Yeah, well, I think one thing we talked about, Kansas State is really sharing the basketball, 15 assists, which is really good for Coach Tang. He really likes to see that. And then also the bench points here, 20 points on the bench. So right now, P.J. Haggerty only has 1 point in the first half, and we said, hey, they have to be more than Haggerty. And so you're seeing multiple guys step up. David Castillo now has 5. Kamari McGriff now has 7. And so multiple guys are starting to step up. Nate Johnson has 5, which is really good for Kansas State. And that will allow P.J. Haggerty to get it going in the second half as well.
All right, Wildcats having to go to the bench, and the bench delivering here in the first half behind guys like Taj Manning and Doreen Buka. 46-36. We'll have our Big 12 recap when we come back. And welcome back to Manhattan and our halftime show. Time for our Big 12 conference recap, and let's start with some highlights pre-Christmas. Off to Madison Square Garden, Texas Tech and JT Toppin trailed by as many as 17 in this game, and then Christian Anderson just took over.
Yeah, he really did. He's able to get to the rim, get the and one here, and then here he gets fouled to put him at the free throw line. It just brought Texas Tech all the way back, makes 1 of 2 to put them up by 1, and then that lets Cameron Boozer have a shot at the buzzer, but could not get it to fall. And you see Texas Tech takes the win, 82-81.
Huge win for the Big 12 there at Madison Square Garden. Oregon State, Arizona State. Nice drive and finish by Maurice Odom, but Oregon State gets the go-ahead 3 from Isaiah C. Last chance for ASU here, and they turn it over.
Yeah, and unfortunate, had an opportunity to try to go get the win, but turned it over at the buzzer, and Oregon State sneaks out a win on the road, 78-75.
Well, P.J. Haggerty no longer the leading scorer in the Big 12 because of this man, A.J. DeBenza against Eastern Washington. How about a triple-double, Clint, with 33, 10, and 10.
That's his first career triple-double, and some have him as the #1 overall pick in the upcoming draft. He is amazing.
And he will be here on Saturday as K-State will host the Cougars as Big 12 conference play begins. Here's a look at some other scores. Lots of winners there in the Big 12 as Arizona and Iowa State remain undefeated in the top 5.
Yeah, no surprise there. Top teams taking care of business, and they'll continue to try to do that as they head into the Big 12 play coming up soon.
Yeah, a lot of conferences have already started conference action, but not the Big 12. We'll get it underway on Friday as West Virginia will be on the road to take on Iowa State. And then, as we mentioned, A.J. DeBenza and number 10 BYU here on Saturday to take on Kansas State, an important one for the Wildcats.
Very important. It should be an exciting game. I'm sure there'll be a lot of fans in the stands to see it. And for Kansas State, this is an opportunity for them to start the Big 12 season off right with a top 10 win in the division, in the conference, and that'll be huge for them if they can do that.
And here's a look at the rest of the schedule. On Saturday in the Big 12, Kansas will be on the road to take on UCF, who has played well in the non-conference, and then Baylor TCU. How about that matchup?
Yeah, I'm really excited for that matchup. As we know, Baylor just signed James Najee, the number 31st pick in the 2023 draft, so he'll be playing. And TCU, they have a win against Florida earlier this year and had a close loss to Michigan, so that should be a really exciting matchup.
And here's a look at the Big 12 standings. As of today, as mentioned, Arizona, Iowa State still undefeated. There are 10 Big 12 teams in the top 60 of the net. There's going to be lots of opportunities for a team like K-State to get those quality wins.
Well, night in, night out, you're playing against one of the top teams. As you see, 6 of these teams are in the top 25, and so it will be an exciting Big 12 season. And there's a lot of teams that are trying to make some noise this year.
There's a look around the Big 12. We'll get it started on Friday. We'll be back with our halftime show after this. Final non-conference game of the season for K-State. We're at the half with the Cats leading it by 10, 46-36. And let's look at some of our first half highlights. Good start for ULM. Broadnecks with 15 in the first half.
Yeah, and he does a good job just being aggressive in the first half, getting to his spots, shooting the basketball on a couple fadeaways, getting out in transition and scoring. And then you see Lewis be able to make some shots as well. And he also got to the free throw line quite a bit in the first half, 6 for 6 from the free throw line for Christian Lewis.
And for the Wildcats, Taj Manning off the bench with a couple nice assists, knocking down a 3, and the Wildcats really shared the basketball. We talked about it, 15 assists in the first half.
Yeah, and Taj Manning really brought a spark to this team. Like I said, he matched the energy early, was able to knock down some shots, but also made some really good passes. And for Kansas State, they have to continue to do that in this second half, is share the basketball, make some shots, try to get things going early in the second half.
So look at the numbers for Doreen Buka off the bench in that first 20 minutes. You know, I think the concern for ULM coming in was, could they keep K-State out of the paint? Could they keep Haggerty out of the paint as we look back at some of the keys? Well, they kept Haggerty out of the paint, but some of the Buka, Manning, Rapiak, Kamari McGriff all got buckets inside there. And that wasn't necessarily off the dribble, but it was off the interior passing against that zone that ULM threw at them.
Yeah, and ULM, they did a good job early just controlling the tempo. But as you mentioned, once Kansas State started figuring out the zone, then they were able to get more than Haggerty, right? Multiple guys started scoring. But also you saw transition offense. Nate Johnson did a really good job of just driving the basketball, getting to the free throw line, driving the basketball, finding David Castillo in transition. And so Kansas State is starting to do things that they need to do as far as those keys to the victory, they're starting to do them, and that's what allowed them to get this lead here in the first half.
Now, I'm not sure when you said more than Haggerty that Coach Tang had 1 point from Haggerty in mind in the first half. We'll see if he can get it going here in the second 20 minutes. Haggerty just 1 point, 0 of 6 shooting in that first half. There's Bashir, and he remains hot.
Well, you see Kansas State came out in the first play. They kind of run some action for Bashir coming off of that handoff to get the open shot. And it's a really good job getting him going early because he's one guy that we've seen has already made shots early on in the game.
Third triple of the day, now 49 on the season as McGriff sends that one right back in the face of Lewis. Haggerty with the step through draws the foul. And that's more of what we've seen from Kansas State is the defense leading to offense at the other end.
Well, to get to transition offense, you have to get stops. And so once you get stops, Kamari McGriff here with a nice block, just rotation over to get the block, which started the fast break. And P.J. Haggerty in transition is where he is at his best. And we know we've seen he's turned it over a few times today, but quite normally he is hard to stop in transition. And he gets the free throw line at a high clip there.
Looking at some of Haggerty's stats, he has 5 games with at least 9 two-point buckets. Like, that's hard to do as a guard. I mean, you never see anything like that anymore, but he's got such a crafty game, although we haven't seen much of the scoring part of it here today.
Well, here's one thing about P.J. Haggerty in this Kansas State offense is you look at their guards and they shoot the basketball really well from the outside, but out of all their guards, Bashir, Haggerty, Johnson, Castillo, Haggerty actually shoots the least amount of threes out of all of them. So that tells you how he scores the basketball.
Yeah, absolutely. Brodnack stays hot. He's got 18. ULM and a man, and Haggerty score it in the foul. But you get away from the zone, and that opens it up for Haggerty, and that's tough for ULM, kind of trying to pick their poison right now.
Well, and you know he's going to come out in the second half and be aggressive. I'm sure up to his standards, he knows I didn't play as well as I should have the first half, so I need to go out there and play well the second half. And here early on, he's gotten to the free throw line already twice now. It's his third free throw attempt, but he's aggressive getting to the ring.
Biggest lead with Haggerty getting untracked with 5 quick points for Haggerty to begin this second half. Brodnax and Lewis. Here's Lewis at 30 of the 39 for ULM. Transition three, Johnson, and K-State roars out to begin this second half.
Well, and that's just a step-in three for Nate Johnson, trailing the play. P.J. Haggerty takes his time, pushes the tempo, and then finds Nate Johnson. So Kansas State has already started the second half playing at a faster pace, getting out in transition, which is leading to really good shots offensively.
11 points in 2 minutes to begin the half for the Wildcats.
Well, do you think Coach Tang maybe said something to his team at halftime? Because they've come out with a lot of aggression here. Even on the defensive end, I think it looks like they're doing a little bit better job just trying to get stops to lead them into transition.
Raynar Sanders hits from the corner. Haggerty, the crossover, and the left hand. Haggerty cooking now in the second half.
And he's so crafty with the basketball, rejects the ball screen, which allows him to get to the lane and score the basketball. And here he is defensively getting out of transition. So he has started this second half like we know he can, and he can turn it on quickly, and that's what he's doing right now.
Haggerty's got 9 points in 2.5 minutes in the second half. Nice finish over the top, Raynar Sanders.
And Sanders has come out really aggressive this second half for Coach Cunningham's team.
Johnson, this one short. McGriff trying to keep it alive. Rapiat got it. K-State, and they'll say he was out of bounds.
Yeah, I think he can't be the first one to touch it as he was out of bounds and came back in and touched it. But P.J. Haggerty has come out this second half, and he is just being really aggressive getting the basketball to the rim, finishing here with his left hand, and then just defense turns into offense. So being active defensively puts him in transition to get the easy basket as well. So you like to see the way he is playing here in the second half.
Runner off the glass won't drop for Malafi. 3-on-2 break, K-State. Bashir launches. Well, you're surprised when he misses.
I mean, he makes it at 49%, 50%, then every other one. But I felt like he might have missed his last one, so I thought that one was going in. But he's just a tremendous shooter. And like I said, it's not a shot that he doesn't like. But really good job by the Warhawks getting back and stopping Kansas State in transition there, which led to the missed shot and has got them now to the free throw line on this end. So the defensive stop for them got MJ Russell out and got him to be aggressive. We haven't talked about him in a while, so maybe he is a guy that also wants to see some shots fall in the second half and get going.
Yeah, he had just 3 in the first half. 5th leading scorer in the Sun Belt at better than 17 a game, knocks down the free throw. Former Alabama 5A Player of the Year. We mentioned he spent 3 years at Mississippi State, played sparingly. About 2 points a game last year. You know, we can see the portal work both ways, where the Power 4 level, you see the mid-major guys coming up. Well, it kind of worked in reverse for him. He was at the Power 4 level and didn't play much, but he's having success here at the Sun Belt.
Yeah, he is, and we didn't talk about this, but there's a guy on the staff for Coach Cunningham named Franklin Miskelly, who actually was at Kansas State the last 2 years and now is assistant coach for Coach Cunningham, and he had some ties to MJ Russell while he was at Mississippi State early on in his career. So he was able to get MJ Russell to this team, and you see he's playing really well and doing everything they thought he could do.
And more Taj Manning, career high 8 points with that finish with the left hand. And the turnover will give it back to Kansas State. The Wildcats behind Haggerty, and some 3-point shooting exploding here to begin the second half. They're up big by 17. For PJ Haggerty, the points can come in bunches. Just 1 point in the first half, but 9 in the first 2.5 minutes of the second half.
Yeah, and he's the 3rd leading scorer in the country because he can get going really quickly. So as we mentioned, he did not have the first half he would like to have, and so this second half he has come out ultra aggressive, scoring the basketball in transition as much as he can.
And for more on PJ, let's send it to Sophie.
Thanks, Ben. From the first day PJ Haggerty stepped foot into Manhattan to today, Jerome Tang said that what he's learned most about him is his care factor. He really cares about his teammates. He cares about winning. He cares about becoming a better player. He said from the outside looking in, you can see he's a great player. He's been a great player wherever he's gone, when he was at Memphis, but you never really know how invested someone is going to be until they get into your program, and he continued to say that it's been impressive that he can win wherever he goes.
Yeah, thanks, Sophie. As K-State tries the lob again to Buka, and this time they had to hold him back. Foul will give K-State the basketball underneath. Haggerty into Manning. Nice ball fake from Haggerty.
Kansas State was really patient on that possession. You know, Taj Manning maybe had a shot if he would have caught the ball cleanly, but didn't catch it cleanly and was able to find Haggerty kind of on a backdoor cut here to get to the free throw line again. But good shot fake. Gets the defender up in the air, and Sondors probably says I was straight up, but the ref thought he got bodied.
73% from the free throw line so far this year. It was 82% a year ago at Memphis. First one is good. This is the final non-conference game for K-State as they get ready for BYU. Number 10 Cougars coming to town on Saturday with A.J. Devanza.
That's going to be a fun matchup to watch.
And then no bargain. You go on the road to play #1 Arizona. So K-State with 2 top 10 matchups to begin Big 12 conference play.
So what you're saying is you play BYU and then it doesn't get any easier from there.
Ishamil. Mishila misses. K-State throws it away, looking for the fast break. All alone in the corner. The 3 is good for Malafi.
Malafi just spots up in the corner off of the transition turnover, but here's PJ Haggerty once again, kind of rejecting the ball screen with a crossover and getting to the rim and finishing, maybe even through a little bit of contact there.
13 in the second half for Haggerty. Reach in foul on Taj Manning.
Well, PJ Haggerty, defense kind of just loses him here and actually does finish through a little bit of contact. So I'm sure he probably wanted the foul call there, but he's able to just go in and then finish at the rim. And like I said, him being aggressive, he's getting a breather here, but him just being aggressive, getting into the paint is something he does really, really well, and he's starting to knock him down here in the second half.
Jumper long, rebounded by Bramlage, and he is fouled by C.J. Jones.
Well, we mentioned Bramlage averages 3.6 offensive rebounds per game, and so every time that shot goes up, if you're Kansas State, you have to find him and block him out.
Castillo out of the pack with the rebound. He splits 2 defenders and knocked out of bounds. K-State will keep it. 14 to play here. Kostic back in there for Jerome Tang. Here's Castillo, turns down the 3. Buka's going to launch for 3, and that had no chance.
And that's why we like the lobs at the rim.
Yeah. You could hear the murmur come through the crowd as soon as he caught that. They wanted him to shoot it. He obliged, but no payoff.
Well, that's one. If he makes it, I think the crowd goes crazy. And but when you miss it, you have to look over at coach and say, "No, I probably shouldn't have shot that one." But pretty funny.
High screen from Buka for Castillo. Manning lines up for 3. Too strong and tipped out to Todd. CJ steps into one. No. Castillo. No. The goal in. 4th time was the charm for K-State.
And I don't know if that one was going in either, but got the goaltend call. Good job by Kansas State just being aggressive on the offensive end, using their size. As you see here, Kostic gets the offensive rebound and the goaltend call, but Kansas State just imposing their size and their will right now on the Warhawks to get those extra opportunities.
First 2 of the day for Kostic comes via the goaltend. 20-point lead now for the Cats. MJ Russell leaves it well short, but Mishila there with the slam.
And just kind of outworking the Kansas State team there to get the offensive rebound and dunk, but Kansas State here turning it over in transition. But Mishila does a good job just getting around Buka after he set the ball screen and finding the ball and finishing at the rim and just playing hard. These games for a team like Kansas State is, you're coming off of the break, and so you really just like to see yourself come out and really prepare for the Big 12, right? So you kind of know you're probably going to start a little bit slow, but you like to see yourself pick it up. And what you don't want to see here for Coach Tang is in the second half, you started really well, you want to continue to play well. Don't end the game by not playing well and not feeling good about going into the Big 12 season.
Kostic looks down at the stripe, steps behind it, and misses on the 3. Draws the foul from Kostic. Lewis continues to attack. He's had a good day with 12. And a timeout. Kansas State is taking control of this one, 69-53 midway through the second. As we mentioned, Big 12 play starting on Saturday with BYU coming to Bramlage Coliseum. For K-State, been a bit of a roller coaster non-conference season. 5 wins to start the year, then a 4-game losing skid, followed by 3 straight wins, trying to make it 4 here today. Clint, your thoughts on this team as a whole as they close out the non-conference part of the schedule?
Yeah, well, one thing we know is Kansas State can score the basketball, and so they have to continue to score the basketball. But as you head into the Big 12, defense becomes more of a priority, and so they are going to have to be better defensively in getting stops. And you look at the 4 games they lost. You know, they lost to Nebraska, kind of at the buzzer. Indiana, tough road game. They lost to Bowling Green, Seton Hall. Bowling Green's a game you say we just didn't play well. At Seton Hall, you shot 15 for 35 from the free throw line. So really 3 out of those 4, for sure 2 out of those 4, you probably feel like you should have won. And so some things you just got to clean up, right? You got to clean up the defensive attack and be able to get stops. And you know your offense can score, so continue to shoot the ball well, and that will take care of itself. But it really starts in the defensive end of this team.
Lewis with a couple of free throws. That road win at Creighton, a huge confidence boost to break that losing streak and really put some meat on their non-conference resume, because that's a quad 1 win now. Creighton has won its last 3, including a 41-point road win at Xavier and a 21-point home win at Marquette. That's looking really good right now.
Yeah, it's looking really good for Kansas State, especially winning that one on the road. And so it was a game going in where you know you had to go get the win, but you didn't know how good it would be, and it's turned out to be a really good win for Kansas State.
Steele at the point now. Cats up by 14. Kostic too strong on the lob to the post. Here comes Brodnex. Russell dribbled it off his foot right into the hands of Brodnex. And now out of bounds to K-State. They'll say Diaz touched it last.
Well, not very good spacing there. You had multiple guys really close to each other. And Coach Cunningham's team, they like to play kind of 5 out and play out of the ball screen with the big and space the floor. And you see here, there's not really good spacing, and that put Diaz in a tough spot there.
Haggerty and Johnson back in there for Jerome Tang after a short break. Cats have gotten a little bit sloppy with the basketball after building that 20-point lead. Here's a reach-in foul. Team foul number 6 on ULM. Haggerty turns the corner, and an illegal screen called on McGriff.
Yeah, that can be a little bit on McGriff, but also a little bit on Haggerty. You got to wait for your big to get set, but McGriff really didn't take a good angle either to set a good screen there. And so moving a little bit, Haggerty went a little bit too early, and the foul was called.
Third on Kamari. Russell lost the handle, but out of bounds off of Kansas State. Warhawks lost by 21 at Ole Miss and by 25 at Miami. There are 2 Power 4 road games so far. Lewis got fouled. Johnson got it, and this will be a 3-shot foul. There were no starters returning for this Louisiana Monroe team. Won just 7 games a year ago. They've got talent. Phil Cunningham says their challenge has been defensively and trying to get all these new guys to come together defensively. They're giving up 82 a game.
Yeah, like I said, they're a very young team playing multiple freshmen, some sophomores. MJ Russell is a redshirt junior, but his first year under Coach Cunningham, and so they're just trying to figure some things out, right? And when you're a young team and you're trying to figure some things out, you're going to take some lumps early, but what he hopes to see is they just continue to get better as they move into the Sun Belt Conference, and that's the point where they want to be playing their best basketball. And so this game for them today, they got up early, had to weather some storm, and they're trying to weather the storm now and fight back, and so I'm sure he's happy with the effort that he's seeing his team play with tonight.
For some more on ULM, let's check in with Sophie.
Thanks, Ben. Coach Cunningham said that he's not even thought about getting to March because they're so focused on the day-to-day right now. They're really focusing on trying to establish how they want to build their program and the culture right now. He told us yesterday that this group has had the highest team GPA in school history, and that may not mean a lot to fans, and he knows that, but as a coach, they're building a program built on character and good people in that locker room, and he knows that he's got a good group of guys with him.
And the Warhawks continuing to play here as K-State kind of took their foot off the gas after building that 20-point lead. It has been cut in half, and Russell's at the foul line trying to make it a single-digit game.
For Kansas State, this game is not over, and so you have to go put your foot back on that gas and get some stops defensively, and you like to see P.J. Haggerty kind of pick it back up again to put Kansas State in some good opportunities offensively, but you have to score the basketball, continue to score it, and you have to defend to finish out this game.
McGriff had it stripped, but he is fouled. They'll get Broadnax with the foul, his third.
Yeah, McGriff just takes his time and is aggressive, and we've seen throughout this year he does a pretty good job of turning over his right shoulder to get back to his left hand and score the basketball, and that's what he does here, is getting fouled, getting to the free throw line. But for Kansas State, like I said, you have to continue to be aggressive offensively. You can't allow the Warhawks defense to, right now they're back in man, so you take advantage of the things that you can do, and McGriff is one of the opportunities underneath that they can take advantage of. Obviously, P.J. Haggerty using the ball screen, getting downhill, something they can take advantage of, and then that should open it up for the other guys as well.
They called that a two-shot foul. McGriff at 67% from the free throw line on the season. Gets the second, and the lead back to 10. And a foul called in the backcourt on Haggerty. And already in the bonus, so we'll walk to the other end for a one-on-one for Lewis. 19th foul already on K-State.
You know, and you have a 94 feet from the basket, and you foul one of the better free throw shooters for this ULM team, and basically gives them, one or two free points. And so I'm sure Coach Tang's not happy about that, but you want to be aggressive defensively. You're hoping that can kickstart some of the offense that you need here in the second half again, but you got to make sure that you do that without fouling, especially with ULM in the bonus right now.
ULM on a 9-1 run, and they're back within 8. Haggerty fights his way to the rim, got it back, and a jump ball called, and the arrow pointing in favor of ULM. Haggerty looking for a whistle that never came.
Yeah, and he was aggressive. He was really aggressive getting there, but I thought the Warhawks did a good job just kind of walling up, trying to keep their hands up high and not committing the foul.
Russell Manning with the wall up at this end for K-State. K-State could use a bucket to calm some nerves here.
For sure, and here we go, P.J. Haggerty off the ball screen, getting fouled and getting to the free throw line here, as I believe Kansas State is also.
Vishala on the hedge picks up the foul, and this will be a 1-on-1, yeah. So Haggerty to the free throw line, where he is 6 of 7 today, has 13 of his 14 points since halftime. Well, those came in the first 2 or 3 minutes of the half.
Yeah, they really did. And you know, Kansas State so far this second half, they've been at their best in 2 different situations, whether that's in transition because they got a defensive stop, or it's been P.J. Haggerty off of the ball screen, and he's rejected the ball screen multiple times. There he comes off of the ball screen, but that's kind of been their best offense this second half. So if they're Kansas State, try to rely on what's been working, right? And what's been working is you got to get out in transition or use Haggerty in the ball screen and play out of that.
Haggerty will get a break here before the 8 and under timeout. Castillo returns. Isolation for Bramlage, too strong. One of his few misses. Just his second missed field goal of the day. Johnson explodes to the rack, and he's fouled.
For a second, that looked like that was going to be a monstrous dunk, but he's able to just explode to the rack, as you said, and looked like he's going to try to take it over him and pass at the last minute, which leads to a 1-and-1. I'm sure he's saying I should have just shot it and got the 2 shots, but you know, he's a good free throw shooter. But Johnson out in transition with how aggressive he is and how strong he is. He's tough to stay away from the rim, and if you keep him out of the rim or out of the lane, then he's able to find guys at the three-point line for open shots.
Misses the free throw. Foul was on Bramlage, his 4th. He'll remain in there with 8:14 to go. Johnson the steal. Can he run it down? He slams it to the ground. Castillo. Lewis hits for 3. And a timeout by ULM. A broken play ends up in the hands of Lewis. He drains the 3. And it's a 7-point game with 7:53 to go.
Welcome back to some Big 12 basketball here on ESPN+. And with Big 12 basketball coming up in the new year, Jerome Tang said that he's fully confident in his team that they're going to be competitive when it comes to conference play. And some of the struggles that they faced up to this point isn't just on the players, but on them as a staff. And some of it is just a part of the process of having to go through some things like that adversity they faced in some of those early games. He continued to say that he's very thankful. There's a lot of season ahead of him, and very thankful for guys and a staff that want to get better every single day, guys.
Thank you, Sophie. Yeah, as start looking ahead to Big 12 play. It's that time of year you start looking at the net, and K-State, before that, the day the net first came out was the day K-State played Bowling Green, and K-State was 55. Then they lost to Bowling Green, and then tacked on another loss after that against Seton Hall. They dropped all the way to 100, but they've now popped their way back to 53. A large part thank you to Creighton and that road win and the way Creighton's played since then. Johnson, a big shot to push the lead back to 10.
Yeah, really good play there by Coach Tang, getting a flare screen for Johnson to get the open shot. But as you mentioned, I mean, when it comes to the rankings, you know, you can have a loss or a couple bad losses, which can drop you really quickly. But then you can have a couple really good wins, which can move you up really quickly, and that's what you've seen with Kansas State.
Well, you and I did that Tulsa game. K-State getting the late win there, coming from behind against Tulsa. Tulsa hasn't lost since. That's their only loss of the year, so that potentially could look like a quality win come into the season too.
Yeah, Coach Conkel's team is playing really well, as you mentioned, and it's fun to see how they're playing after this game and continue to get wins as they're heading into conference play.
Steele and the finish at the other end for Diaz, and the lead's down to 6. First 2 for Dylan Diaz. Steele looks for the high screen. Rapia, the lob too short.
this is a big possession for both teams and for the Warhawks here. And Saunders, so if he knocks down this shot, the offensive rebounder down 4. And this is putting a lot of pressure on Kansas State. Expect a timeout here for Coach Tang so he can talk to his team about how they want to finish this basketball game.
22-6 run. K-State had a 20-point lead and kind of shut it down. They're trying to get the switch turned back on now. ULM with the steal and the layup. And the Warhawks are within 4. Christian Lewis with 23, leading a 22-6 run over the last 6 minutes for ULM, and the Warhawks are within 4.
Yeah, and he's doing it in all kinds of ways. But one of the biggest things is he gets to the free throw line, and so he's gotten there for 13 attempts, and he's made 12 of them. So 12 out of his 23 are from the free throw line, and then he's knocked down a few shots from the outside and then getting to a couple pull-ups as well. His season high right now is 28, and so he's close, 29, and so he's close to getting that as well. So he's trying to will this Warhawks team to victory here in the second half.
He's been averaging over the last 7 games better than 20 a game, and he's going to help that number here today. Haggerty with a strong take. Much needed hoop for the Wildcats out of the timeout. They get it to their main man, PJ Haggerty.
Yeah, very much needed. A little bit of weave action. Cleared the side for Haggerty on that left side where he could drive it with his left hand and finish with his left for the and one. And like I said, a much needed basket because Kansas State needs some energy, right? And they have to score the basketball here late, get a couple stops to bring that energy to try to close out this basketball game. It's so much needed for Kansas State.
18 in the second half for Haggerty, but now the Cats need to string together some defensive stops. Johnson on Lewis. I mentioned Lewis has been in the free throw line 13 times. His 3 rattles away. Castillo. Nice ball fake. He spins it in with the left hand.
And Kansas State has come out and drove the basketball twice aggressively to the rim by their 2 smallest guards, able to finish at the rim. And so 2 big baskets for Kansas State to push this lead back out to 9.
Isolation this time for Russell, and the 3 rattles around, hits the backboard, and drops.
Sometimes you need a little bit of luck, and then that might have been a little bit of luck in Russell's favor, but nice job making the shot.
Haggerty gets the whistle and count it. Mid-range teardrop off the window for Haggerty.
PJ Haggerty is so good at driving the basketball, and he's strong with his finishes, which is also why he gets to the free throw line so often. And so he's being aggressive here. Like I said, this is, last 5 minutes of the game. Coach Tang talks about winning time. Like, this is winning time right now for Kansas State, and so he's going to have to go win this basketball game for the Wildcats.
Lead back to 9. Well, Haggerty's, there's going to be a bunch of close games in Big 12 play, and he's going to be the one with the ball in his hands down the stretch. Whistle before the shot, foul on Kansas State. We mentioned Haggerty scores in bunches, and that tells the story there today. 21 in the second half. And what a luxury for Jerome Tang in these close games to have an All-American point guard to put the ball and put whether it's going to be a win or a loss kind of in his hands.
Well, and PJ Haggerty is a guy that, as we mentioned, you know what he's going to bring night in, night out. And so you can, those kind of guys, you can kind of hold them down for a little bit, but you can't hold them down for the entire game. And as you see here in the second half, he's really picked it up and has turned that on. As you see the Warhawks now go back to this zone, and Kansas State hits the middle of the zone and finds the layup underneath the repeat.
About the 4th time they've done that in the middle of the zone. Several alley-oops in the first half, and an easy layup right there. Lead is back to 9. Lewis kept his balance, got the layup to go.
You saw no help side defense there by the Wildcats to help on the drive, which allowed Lewis to get to the rim.
Rapiak gets free again and an easy layup.
And very similar to what we saw on the other end of the floor. There was no help side there for the Warhawks, and so off the ball screen with David Castillo and Rapiak, he just able to hit Rapiak on the roll for the easy layup.
Diaz, good shooter, knocks down the three. ULM still within striking distance as the three cuts it to 6. Haggerty, pull up, free throw line, no, and Bramlage there to clear the glass. Bramlage attacks on Bashir, yes, and the foul. A chance to make it a 3-point game.
Well, you could see when Bramlage was coming down the floor there in transition that he liked the matchup and was able to just cross over, get into the middle of the lane, and finish with his right hand as he puts ULM Monroe down 4 here. Under 4 minutes to go here, but really good finish. Bramlage trying to will this team to win with Christian Lewis.
3:14 to play from Bramlage. K-State trying to hang on to what was a 20-point lead. ULM continuing to attack and plant knockdown shots. They're shooting 58% from the floor in the second half as part of this rally.
Yeah, and they're doing a good job with Lewis and Bramlage getting to the rim and finishing at the rim, getting to the free throw line a few times, and that's opened up some shots from the outside from guys like Diaz. Obviously, Lewis has hit some from out there as well, and NJ Russell got one that kind of bounced around the rim. And so right now, they are the aggressor, and hey, they're playing freely. It's 3:14 left. They have nothing to lose here, and so they're playing really freely. And you can see Kansas State is starting to tighten up a little bit. So for the Wildcats, this next possession is going to be very big for them.
Bramlage missed it, tried to get it back from Castillo, so it remains a 2-possession game. Wildcats with 4 guards and Rapiak on the floor for this possession as we reach the 3-minute mark. Leave up high, Johnson left alone, triggers for 3, bang! Nate Johnson with a dagger from the top.
And a little bit of weave action there, and Bramlage kind of just stayed in the paint and allowed Nate Johnson to take the wide open shot, which he's able to knock down.
Russell looking for a driving angle on Haggerty, not there. Bramlage off to Diaz from 10 and rebounded by Haggerty. He looks down the floor, finds Castillo for the layup.
Defensive stops leads to offensive transition, and PJ Haggerty getting the ball there, looking ahead to David Castillo for the finish, in case they push the lead back out to 9.
Layup missed. Sondor's got it back, and a foul on K-State. And ULM will shoot free throws 31 and 32 of the afternoon.
And Saunders does a good job of using his size. Sees he has the size advantage against Bashir, and obviously Haggerty down there, and able to just get the ball in the glass, get the offensive rebound, and get the foul call. But like I said, good job of the Warhawks recognizing that he had the mismatch inside.
First one drops for Raynar Sondors. One of just 3 returning players from last year's roster. Rapiak runs it down barely. And K-State has it up 8 inside 2 minutes. Diaz poked it away. ULM bench wanted a foul on Castillo, but it'll remain K-State basketball here. That was close, right in front of us.
That was right, and it might have been a little bit of a grab on the arm, but a no call there, and Kansas State really gets away with one of almost turning it over, but they retain the basketball.
Well, 4-point game, huge 3 from the top by Nate Johnson as we look back at the replay here.
Yeah, Diaz there gets his hand on the ball and maybe gets grabbed a little bit.
Brooks Wells was trying to get out of the way, and see what was happening. So I don't think he saw the grab by Castillo. Didn't last very long, but enough for K-State to keep the basketball. But the shot by Nate Johnson, huge for K-State.
Really big for them, and like I said, it was just a little bit of a weave action, and Broadnex didn't come out and guard him, so Nate just kind of teed it up and then let it fly from the top of the key and was able to knock it in. And like I said, that was able to push the lead back out to where K-State needed it to be at this point in time. But there's still a minute 48 here, so if you're the Warhawks, you have to get a stop here. You don't want to go down by 10 or more, right? And so you really need to get a stop here, push the ball in transition, try to get an early one with either Broadnex downhill or Lewis getting to the rim to try to get back in this game now.
Both teams in the double bonus. Castillo, three from the corner. Rebound into the hand of Sondors. Good look from Castillo. And the lead remains at 8. Broadnex gets the bump from Rapiak.
And what you saw there, Coach Cunningham liked the matchup that Broadnex had and kind of told his players to clear out, had a shooter in the corner ready for if they tried to help in. And Broadnex just took advantage of the matchup, got to his right hand into the body of Rapiak to draw the foul.
Big day for Broadnex with 21. He's now been over 20 in 4 of his last 6 games as he continues his strong play. That's 3 missed free throws here down the stretch for ULM. They have been there 34 times today. Castillo trapped, bounces to McGriff, and he finds Haggerty.
Good cut there by DJ Haggerty once the ball got to McGriff in the corner to get to the rim and finish. And the Warhawks really need a bucket here on this possession.
Broadnex will take it. Another tough shot. This one won't fall. Haggerty yanks down the rebound, and the K-State Wildcats will look to run some clock with a 9-point lead. Bashir tried to deliver the dagger. It wasn't there. He'll try again. No. Rebound to McGriff. Castillo 0 for 3 from 3. And the lead is 9 as here comes Lewis. Deep 3, Russell. Rimmed out, and Johnson will dribble it out.
And Coach Tang doesn't look too happy about some of those shots that Kansas State had there, but like I said, they're able to pull out the win here. And a tough matchup. Coach Cunningham had his team ready, and they came in and fought really hard.
Haggerty had 1 at the half, finishes with 24, and K-State needed almost all of them here to some nervous moments down the stretch.
Yeah, definitely not the way they wanted to end the basketball game, but they did have some good plays down the stretch, especially Haggerty with some drives at the rim, and Kansas State did everything it needed to do to hold on to win the basketball game, but some things they're going to have to clean up as they start heading into Big 12 play against BYU.
All right, let's go courtside with Sophie.
Coach, tell me the biggest thing about your team to be able to get out these gutsy wins.
Yeah, love our guys. They're resilient. They caused me some headaches, though. You know, we got to learn how to sustain things, but proud of that they were able to finish the game.
What have you learned most about this team just heading into Big 12 play?
Oh, we got good players. We got good players. They care. Big hearts. They care about K-State, and we got a long way to go. So our ceiling's high. So excited about that.
Thanks, Coach.
Thanks a lot. God bless. Go Cats.
So K-State hangs on 94-85. You see this a lot in basketball, especially a team at home. they'll build a big lead, and then they kind of take their foot off the gas, and it took them a while to get it cranked back up again, but enough to finish off and get the win.
Yeah, like I said, you get the big lead and you start getting comfortable, right? You start relaxing a little bit, thinking, hey, the game might be over, but you really want to finish strong, and sometimes that means maintain the lead or push that lead out even more. And Kansas State was really just to kind of hang on. So Coach Tang kind of laughed there at the end because he said, hey, we have to be better than what we just played in that stretch, end of the stretch of that second half.
Here's a look at the final numbers. Both teams in what was a high-scoring affair with some good-looking numbers there. K-State finishes with 10 threes, 28 points off the bench, and that was a key in building that 20-point lead was the bench production.
Yeah, the bench production was huge, and also Kansas State got extra opportunities from offensive rebounds in this game, so they did a really good job of rebounding the basketball, had 15 offensive rebounds, which gave them those extra opportunities to score the basketball, which they needed every single one of them to hang on and win this game.
So 9-4, K-State finishes its non-conference season. They'll be here back in action Saturday to host BYU. For Clint Stewart and Sophie Smith, I'm Ben Boyle. Have a happy new year, everyone. All games airing on the ESPN network are streaming live and archived on the ESPN app. This has been a presentation of ESPN.